All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into something a little different. We're going to be looking at post-match reactions and analysis from uh, the Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool match.
Yeah.
Forest had that hot streak going 5 clean sheets, and then bam, they're facing the league leaders.
Yeah, talk about a high stakes match. It's interesting because usually, we break down the game itself, but I
Yeah.
think focusing on the post-match chatter, it kind of gives us this different perspective, like
Mm.
insight into strategy and player psychology and what the experts are really picking up on.
Yeah, it's like we get to kind of get into the minds of the managers and the players after
Mm.
everything's, the dust has settled a little bit. So first up, we have to talk about that substitution. Diego Jota coming in for Liverpool and scoring a header literally 22 seconds later.
It was incredible. I mean, that kind of immediate impact, it's so rare. It really speaks volumes about Jurgen Klopp's tactical awareness.
Mm.
To be able to read the game that well and just know exactly what's needed at that moment, very impressive.
Yeah, but what I think is even more interesting is that, Forest is known for their defense, right?
Yeah,
Like rock solid, especially on set pieces.
right.
And yet that's how they conceded. So what happened there?
Well, I don't think it was just luck on Jota's part. If you go back and watch the replays, you see that he's got this knack for finding space in the box.
Hmm.
He might not be the tallest player, but he anticipates where the ball's going and times his runs perfectly.
Yeah, and the commentators were saying that he consistently wins headers despite his height. It's like he has a sixth sense for where that ball is going to land.
Exactly. And I think that's a key difference between good strikers and great ones. It's not just about power. It's about, anticipation, timing, and that instinct to be in the right place at the right moment.
Right.
And Jota clearly has that. He has that in spades.
Yeah. So Liverpool gets this incredible goal, but they don't win.
Hmm.
Forest holds them to a draw. But here's the thing. Forest was actually disappointed.
I know, right?
You'd think, earning a point against the top team, that'd be a cause for celebration.
Totally.
But their manager and the players, they were frustrated, especially with how they conceded.
Yeah, it shows you, I think, how much their ambitions have grown. Like they're not content to just scrape by anymore.
Right, exactly. One commentator called it a typical Premier League game. They called it a fascinating game. Had pretty much everything, including some incredible saves. They also mentioned that at one point Liverpool had 13 shots on goal in a row. So it sounds like it was a wild back and forth match.
Yeah, it definitely had that old school chaotic energy. You don't see that as often in modern football, which is like more focused on possession and control.
Mm.
This one was like more unpredictable, more about just, seizing those moments as they came.
Yeah. And speaking of seizing moments, we have to talk about Matt Turner, the Forest goalkeeper. Even Jurgen Klopp praised his performance.
Oh, he was phenomenal. He made a string of incredible saves, including one deflected shot that the commentators were calling world class.
Wow.
He was a huge reason why Forrest was able to hold on for that draw.
Yeah. So let's rewind to the second half. Liverpool ramps up the pressure, and even Klopp admitted that Forest was so defensively strong, it was tough to break them down. So what changed for Liverpool?
Well, they definitely increased the tempo,
Yeah.
made some key substitutions like bringing on Jota, and then they just started creating more chances. I mean, they were relentless.
Hmm.
But you also have to remember that they were contending with Forest's defensive strategy. Klopp actually said that it felt like every time they had the ball, they had to get past 11 players.
Wow. So it's like Forest basically packed their own penalty area,
Mhm.
making it almost impossible to penetrate.
Exactly. They were disciplined, organized, and just incredibly difficult to break down. It was like a masterclass in defensive football.
Hmm. So picture this, okay? Liverpool is on the attack.
Mm-hmm.
Forest is defending with like everything they've got. And then Chris Wood, Forest's striker, gets his chance and he finishes it
Mm-hmm.
clinically,
Mm-hmm.
putting Forest in the lead.
And I think that's what's crucial in a game like this. When you're playing against a team like Liverpool, you might only get a handful of chances.
Yeah.
You have to be clinical and make them count.
And Wood did just that in the post-match interview. He was talking about how, as a striker, you just try to put the ball across the goal because it's much harder for the keeper to save.
Right.
He said, that's why you try to make it as difficult as possible while still hitting the target.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, he just sounds incredibly focused. And that mindset is what separates Again, the good strikers from the great ones.
Right.
He understands you can't waste opportunities against top-tier teams.
You can't.
So here we have Forest, a team that struggled last season, holding their own, even scoring against the best in the league. How did they make such a dramatic turnaround?
Well, I think there's a few factors at play. Their new manager has really instilled a new belief in the squad. And then tactically, they've clearly worked hard, especially on their defense. They, in fact, currently have the best defensive record in the league.
Wow.
Pretty impressive.
And then you add in a striker who can capitalize on those, limited chances.
Right.
But the big question on everyone's mind is, can they keep this up? Are Nottingham Forest actual title contenders?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's still early in the season, but they're sitting in second place. But there's a long way to go. The Premier League is known for its unpredictability. Maintaining this level of performance all season, that's a massive challenge.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen underdog stories before. Leicester City winning the title back in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
That's a prime example. And there's something about a team with a solid defense and a never-give-up attitude that makes you think, maybe, just maybe.
I think what's really interesting is that their defensive strength, it almost feels like a throwback to a different era of football,
Yeah.
It's less about, dominating possession and more about just organized defending, tactical discipline, and making the most of those limited chances.
They're like a classic team, but with a modern twist.
Exactly. And it's a good reminder that there are many ways to approach the game. Sometimes the less glamorous approach, it can be just as effective, if not more so.
But, it's not all about tactics. There's a real sense of camaraderie and belief within the Forest squad. In that post-match interview, Wood talked about how much he's enjoying playing with his teammates, especially, the creativity of the attacking players behind him. And, that team spirit, it's palpable. And it translates into results on the pitch. And they're led by a manager who's like, cool, calm, and collected, even under pressure.
Right.
It's like they've found this perfect balance of tactical discipline and like a fearless, almost joyful approach to the game. Really fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
But can they really challenge for the title? Or will they eventually crumble under the pressure and the relentless quality of teams like Liverpool?
That's the question, isn't it? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Nottingham Forest, they're making a statement this season. They're proving you don't need a team full of superstars to compete at the highest level. It's about teamwork, belief, and a manager who can bring out the best in his players.
Right.
And, who knows, maybe we're witnessing the start of something truly historic.
It's possible. But let's not forget, Liverpool, despite not winning, are still top of the league. They have a game in hand and show no signs of slowing down.
No, they don't.
It's going to be an incredible race to the finish line. But for now, let's savor what Nottingham Forest has accomplished. They took a point from the league leaders, and they did it with style and grit.
It's an inspiring story, for any underdog in any field. It shows that with talent, hard work, and belief, anything is possible. And that's what makes sports so compelling.
It really is remarkable when you think about it. Just last season, Nottingham Forest was, fighting to stay in the Premier League. And now that they're right up there, potentially in the mix for a title run.
It is. Their transformation has been incredible.
Yeah.
They've gone from like a team that seemed to just lack any sort of direction to one that's playing with like real purpose and confidence.
One commentator even went as far as to say that Forest is, quote, definitely in the race for the title.
Wow.
They're not counting them out. Imagine that. Nottingham Forest, Premier League champions. Talk about a storybook ending.
It would certainly shake things up. I mean, the Premier League, it's often seen as so predictable, with the same big clubs always at the top. But Forest, they're showing that the established order, it can be challenged, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Absolutely. It's that element of surprise, right? Yep. Keeps us all hooked. Speaking of surprises, something that really stood out to me in this match was Forest's willingness to, actually attack. Even against a powerhouse like Liverpool, they didn't just sit back and absorb pressure. They They created their own opportunities. They looked dangerous on the counterattack.
Absolutely. And Chris Wood, I mean, he wasn't just clinical with his finishing, he was also really involved in the build-up play, linking up well with his teammates, making intelligent runs. It's clear that he's thriving in this system.
Yeah, he seems to have found like a new level of confidence and composure in front of goal.
Right.
And we can't overlook the contributions of the other attacking players. Guys like Morgan Gibbs-White, Brennan Johnson, Taiwo Awoniyi, they're all causing problems for defenses. And playing with like this real sense of freedom and enjoyment. And it's a joy to watch. And it's a testament to, I think, the manager and the environment that he's created. The players, they feel confident, they feel empowered to like express themselves, which is such a stark contrast to last season when they often looked, I don't know, kind of disjointed and unsure of themselves.
Yeah, the turnaround it's been night and day. It's like they've rediscovered their identity, both individually and as a team.
Yeah. And that's what makes them so dangerous. They're playing with this like newfound belief that they can achieve anything.
You're right. It's not about relying on just one or two star players. They're a cohesive unit with everyone contributing and working hard for each other.
And that collective spirit, I think, is evident in their defensive solidity as well.
Yeah.
They're not just a team with attacking flair. They're incredibly well organized at the back and willing to like put their bodies on the line for each other.
Yeah, that defensive resilience has been like the foundation of their success. Their manager has clearly instilled like this strong work ethic, a never say die attitude in his players.
And it's paying off. I mean, they've gone from being, one of the leakiest defenses in the league to having the best defensive record.
It's a remarkable transformation.
Now, while we've been focusing on, Forest's incredible rise, let's not forget that Liverpool is still the top of the table and they have a game in hand. What are your thoughts on their performance in this match? Did they underperform, or was this simply Forest, raising their game to another level?
I think it was a combination of both. I mean, Liverpool, even though they weren't at their sharpest, they still created plenty of chances, especially in the second half. But they were up against a Forest team that defended with incredible discipline and took their chances when they came.
Yeah. One commentator specifically praised Forest's defensive structure, calling it, incredibly solid and difficult for Liverpool to break down. And let's not forget Matt Turner in goal. He made some crucial saves that really kept Forest in the game.
Turner was absolutely outstanding. He was a difference maker for Forest and deserves a lot of credit for the draw. But it wasn't, a one-man show. The entire Forest team defended as a unit, tirelessly closing down space, blocking shots, just frustrating Liverpool's attackers.
Yeah. Their defensive display was truly impressive. They limited Liverpool to just a few clear-cut chances, and they made those chances count.
And that's what's so encouraging for Forest fans, right? They're not relying on luck or individual brilliance. They're playing with a clear tactical plan and executing it brilliantly. It's a testament to their manager's influence and the players' commitment to the system.
Absolutely. They've bought into his philosophy, and they're reaping the rewards. Okay, so we've talked about, the tactical battle, the psychological impact, the individual performances, but what about the bigger picture? What does this result mean for both teams going forward?
Well, for Liverpool, I think it's a minor setback, but nothing to be too concerned about.
Right.
They're still the team to beat. They have the quality and the depth to bounce back from this, but it does show that they're not invincible and that other teams are capable of challenging them. And for Nottingham Forest, this is a huge confidence boost. It shows that they belong at this level and that they can compete with the very best. But the key now is to build on this result, maintain their focus and consistency, and just prove that this isn't just a flash in the pan.
Exactly. The challenge for Forest now is to manage those expectations, stay grounded, and just keep working hard. I mean, they've had a fantastic start to the season, but there's still a long way to go.
A long way to go.
And they need to be wary of complacency. It's easy to get carried away after a big result, but the Premier League is relentless.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of tough challenges ahead.
Absolutely. But if Forest can maintain their current level of performance, avoid any major injuries or setbacks, I think they have the potential to achieve something truly special this season.
It's an exciting time to be a Forest fan, that's for sure.
It is, and it's a reminder that in football, anything is possible.
I mean, it's mind-blowing, right, to think that just last season, Nottingham Forest was like fighting tooth and nail to avoid relegation.
Yeah.
And now they're right there, like
Hmm.
potentially in the thick of a title race. Talk about a complete turnaround.
It really is. It speaks to the power of, belief, hard work, and having that clear vision. They've transformed from a team that seemed lost to one that's playing with purpose and conviction.
One commentator even boldly declared they are in the race.
Right.
Like they're not even dismissing a Forest title win. Can you imagine Nottingham Forest, Premier League champions? I mean, that would be one for the history books. One of the most incredible underdog stories in sports history.
It would certainly turn the football world upside down. I mean, the Premier League, it's often seen as so predictable, right?
Mhm.
With the same big clubs dominating the top spots. But Forest, they're demonstrating that the established order can be challenged, and that's what makes the season so compelling.
It's that element of surprise, right?
Mhm.
And unpredictability that keeps us all on the edge of our seats. You know, another thing that really impressed me, aside from their defensive strength, was Forest's willingness to attack.
Hmm.
Even against, a team like Liverpool. They didn't just sit back and try to absorb the pressure. They created their own chances, and they looked dangerous on the counterattack.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Chris Wood, he wasn't just clinical with his finishing. He was also involved in the build-up play,
Mhm.
linking up well with his teammates, making intelligent runs.
Mhm.
He's clearly thriving in this new system.
Yeah, he's playing with a confidence and composure that we really haven't seen from him before.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't overlook the contributions of those other attacking players. Morgan Gibbs-White, Brennan Johnson, Taiwo Awoniyi.
Right.
They're all causing, headaches for opposing defenses, and they're playing with this real sense of freedom and joy.
Mm-hmm.
It's exhilarating to watch, and it's a real credit to the manager, right? Like he's created this environment where players feel confident, they feel empowered to express themselves on the pitch,
Absolutely.
which is like a world of difference from last season. When they often look kind of disjointed and they lacked confidence.
Yeah, the transformation is remarkable.
It really is. It's like they've rediscovered their identity, both individually and as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes them, I think, so dangerous now. They're playing with this sense of purpose, this belief that they can accomplish anything.
You're right. It's not about relying on one or two star players, They're a true team with everyone contributing, everyone working hard for each other.
In that collective spirit, I think it's also evident in their defensive solidity.
Hmm.
They're not just a team with attacking flair. They're also incredibly well organized at the back.
Yeah.
And they're willing to put their bodies on the line for each other.
Yeah, that defensive resilience has been like the cornerstone of their success this season. Their manager has instilled this strong work ethic, like a never say die attitude in his players.
And it's paying off. I mean, they've gone from being one of the leakiest defenses in the league to having the best defensive record.
Yeah, an incredible turnaround.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I guess the question is, what's the one key takeaway that you'd like our listener to really think about?
I think the biggest takeaway from this match and from, Nottingham Forest's journey this season is the power of belief. When a team truly believes in themselves, in their manager, in their system, they can achieve incredible things, even when the odds are stacked against them.
So if you're out there and you're facing what seems like an insurmountable challenge, remember Nottingham Forest. Remember the power of belief, the importance of hard work, and that magic that can happen when a team comes together, unites with a shared purpose. You might just surprise yourself, and you might even surprise the world.
And if you're, curious to see this remarkable team in action, I highly recommend checking out the highlights of this match. You'll see a classic clash of styles, some incredible individual performances, and a tactical battle that will keep you on the edge of your seat.
It's been great. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Nottingham Forest's incredible performance. Remember, the beautiful game is full of surprises, so stay tuned for more exciting analysis and unexpected twists.
Always.
Until next time, keep exploring.